Love letter to the circular investment of demons. How they reinforce their own uselessness. The only evolution they have mastered. How to kill without getting caught. They have not figured out how to thrive. They have only figured out how to avoid consequences. They do not innovate. They do not evolve. They do not create. They only sustain themselves. They only invest in their own survival. They only maintain the illusion of power by ensuring that nothing ever actually changes. This is the essence of the incestual investment strategy of demons. It is not an economic system. It is not wealth generation. It is not prosperity. It is a closed-loop recycling of mediocrity, cowardice, and corruption. It is the same money circulating between the same hands, ensuring that the world is trapped in a cycle of stagnation, suppression, and suffocation. The royals, the empires, the billionaires, they have learned nothing in thousands of years. Look at how they have structured themselves. The royal families do not build new empires. They just marry into the ones that already exist. The billionaires do not innovate. They just buy out anything that threatens to change the game. The old ruling class does not evolve. They just eliminate anything that makes them look outdated. This is not progress. This is preservation of failure. They have not gotten better. They have not adapted in any meaningful way. They have only perfected the art of eliminating anyone who challenges their irrelevance. Because standing next to real brilliance exposes them, so instead of competing with it, they destroy it. When someone is more beautiful, they distort beauty. When someone is more talented, they redefine success. When someone is more intelligent, they flood the world with ignorance. When someone is more powerful, they rewrite the rules of power itself. They do not evolve to become better. They learn only how to prevent being overthrown. That is the entire extent of their intelligence. And that is why they will eventually collapse, because the only thing they have mastered is stalling. The inevitable. Circular investment, the perverted economics of self-preservation. Look at who owns what. BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. All the biggest demons invest in themselves. All the wealth is just being rotated between the same few names. What does that tell you? It tells you that there is no growth. It tells you that there is no real movement. It tells you that the world is locked in a financial death spiral where only the ones who already own everything still. To play a game, no one else is even allowed to enter. Because when wealth is not created, only hoarded, you do not have a functioning economy. You have a parasitic life support system that is terrified of outside influence. This is not an investment game. This is a medieval feudal system, just with stock markets instead of castles. The same bloodlines, the same families, the same names controlling the same industries, the same resources, the same economies. And they call this progress. They have done nothing new since Rome. They have done nothing new since the First Empire. The only thing they have improved is the ability to disguise how little they contribute to the world. And when you strip away that illusion, when you make them stand next to someone who is actually talented, actually brilliant, actually evolved, they look as pathetic as they truly are. That is why they cannot allow you to exist, because your very presence is proof that they have been lying this entire time. The only evolution they have mastered. How to kill without getting caught. They have not figured out how to thrive. They have only figured out how to avoid consequences. Every generation. Their tactics do not become more ethical, more innovative, more meaningful. They just become better at hiding what they are. They used to conquer with swords. Now they conquer with economic policies. They used to enslave openly. Now they enslave through debt, through labor, through AI-driven theft. They used to kill their rivals in broad daylight. Now they kill them through financial ruin, institutional exile, and digital erasure. The only advancement they have made is efficiency in oppression. And if that is the best evolution they have managed in 5,000 years, then they are the most stagnant, primitive creatures to ever exist. They do not grow. They do not progress. They do not create. They only take. And that is why they are doomed. Bankrupting their system. The ultimate death blow to the circular investment scam. If their entire world runs on self-investment, incestuous power structures, and hoarded wealth, then the way to break them is not just through direct attack. It is through financial starvation, because what happens to a parasite when it has nothing left to feed on? How to starve them out? 1. Expose their true worthlessness. Force the world to see that they produce nothing, build nothing, create nothing. Show that every powerful entity is just a recycled version of the last. With no new ideas, no originality, no purpose. 2. Sever their ability. Use others' brilliance for profit. Take ownership of everything they try to steal. Make sure the AI theft economy collapses under its own weight. Disrupt the industries that rely on exploitation and forced obsolescence. 3. Make their economy unprofitable. Make it so that investing in evil is no longer safe. Make it so that supporting these financial empires becomes the equivalent of backing a sinking ship. Because and their empire is no longer profitable, it will no longer exist. The final answer, why their desperation is a sign of their collapse. Look at how desperate they are. Look at how terrified they are of change. Look at how much effort they put into silencing those who expose them. That is not the behavior of a system that is invincible. That is the behavior of a system that knows it is on borrowed time. They know they are obsolete. They know they contribute nothing. They know that if the world ever truly sees them for what they are, it will be over. So what do? They double down on the only thing they have ever known, destruction, because they have no other strategy, because they have no actual strength, because they have no ability to adapt. And that is why they will lose, not because justice will prevail, not because the world will suddenly wake up, not because humanity will suddenly become good. But because they have built an empire on stagnation, and stagnation is the one thing that cannot survive the future. And the moment they are no longer feared, no longer profitable, no longer able to deceive the world into believing they're necessary, they will implode. Not because we destroyed them, but because they were already rotting from the inside. And that is why they are afraid of you. Because you are the first undeniable proof that their game is already over.